Okay,
So
Fatima.
how to write basic structure and how to tackle these tasks. So the structure will remain the same, the planning will remain the same for all academic task one. Okay, it will be almost the same. For maths and diagrams, it makes the language, the vocabulary changes a bit, but that also has the same structure like this. Okay, so going to the structure first, you need to analyze what the question is asking about. Okay, so these are the 5 steps you can say that you need to follow to have a 7+ band writing task one. Okay, so the first thing is that you need to analyze the question and identify the main features. So main features, that means which is the highest or which is the most significant change or which is the most essential part of that I line or bar graph, or even for that matter when you are comparing the changes in the map, like the path changed from that year to this year, then which is the most significant change they are talking about and which is the least one. Okay, so you need the main feature will be the most significant first two and the last the least significant or the least last two. So topmost and bottommost two, those will be more than enough for you to explain clearly. After explaining them, if you are left with words, if you are short of words to get that 170 or 190, then you can include the other areas, the other data also. But focus that you do not include all the data that is given in that if you don't think that they are very important. And remember that you get only 20 minutes. So it is better to spend 5 minutes on analyzing what you are going to write. Okay, so that is only analyzing. You have to understand what the question is talking about, what they want you to do. Okay, so write a report, write, summarize the data. What are they asking you to do? Accordingly, you need to write the answer. In the first 5 minutes, analyze this and near the question, just write the bullet point that which is the significant or highest one, which is the lowest one. So that when you are writing, you just have a look on that keyword and you can elaborate. And after that, you just in the next 10 minutes or 8 minutes, write down the structure, the intro and the overall para, the body para 1, the body para 2, all these things write down. And the next 5 minutes, try to proofread it for any any spelling errors or any comparison errors, that is prepositions. Instead of at, have you written on, because prepositions play a very crucial role when you are doing comparison language. Almost, approximately, is it saying correct? So you have to be very careful whether you are saying the same thing as the graph is showing. So check for all these minute errors that many of us make in a rush to write some high vocabulary and putting in some great lexical resources. We forget these simple grammar errors which affects our band. So take care of these minute things after you have written. And then if you are left with extra time, you can try to include or better your answer, or you can utilize that leftover time in writing your essay, because essay needs more time than your part one, so you can utilize them in that. But if you think that you need to have those 20 minutes completely for this, that is also fine. And I would suggest you to write task one first and then go for essay, because sometimes I have seen in writing task two, people get so involved in that that they forget that they have to write task one also, and they are left with only 10 minutes or something, and thus that task one is not that good, which affects total band. So write task one first and then move on to task two, because it will maximum take 16 to 17 minutes if you properly understand the structure and follow the structure. Okay, so first 5 minutes analyze, write the keywords, and then you come on to writing your body paragraph. And these are the 4 paragraphs that you must have, or that these are the only paragraphs that you should have in your writing task one, whether it is bar, line, graph, or it is map or diagram. These 4 paragraphs are more than enough. But if you have too much answers and you are very good in your lexical resources and grammar, then you can go for paragraph 5. But I do not think that is necessary, because even if you write 4 paragraphs, you can get 8. And I have written only 4 paragraphs both the time and I got it. So it is not necessary that if you write 3 paragraphs explaining all the details, your marks will increase. Nothing like that. If you have covered the main ideas, main points, main changes, then that is more than enough. So first paragraph is your introduction. Okay. So introduction is nothing but 2 or 3 sentences. Most of the time it's only 2. That what the graph is about, the given graph, the illustrated graph, or the given diagram, the presented diagram. So whatever the diagram is and what it is talking about. The given diagram illustrates the number of people got getting job in 2019, something like that. Okay, so it will be 1.5 sentence only. You have to paraphrase the question. That is very essential, that in your introduction paragraph, do not forget to paraphrase it. If the question says summarize the data given in the bar diagram, which shows how many people got job, so you should avoid writing bar diagram. You can write bar chart, or you can write bar graph. Okay, so instead of diagram, you can write other words. Getting job, people getting job, you can say folks or individuals being employed. Okay, so this is very, very, very essential that you paraphrase the questions. Without paraphrasing, if you write the same words from the question, your lexical resources and cohesion marks, lexical resources and your grammar will reduce, because there is no variety in structure or the paraphrasing technique which comes under these 2 areas. So be sure that you paraphrase your first sentence very clearly. And then the second sentence can be, if there are 2 or 3. Okay, if you're given 2 pie chart or 2 bar graph, one and the mixed graph. If you have got mixed graph, and if you think that complex sentence is not able to be formed, you are not able to form the complex sentence, like the given diagrams show this, also this. If you think that the structure is not good, then you can go for 2 different. The first diagram shows such and such thing. On the other hand, the second chart shows this and this thing. So 2 sentences. If you think mixed graph is presented and you cannot write one simple sentence with proper grammar, then you can go for 2 simple sentences and explain in this way. This will not affect your marks. This will be just your introduction without grammar errors. So this is also good. So then if you're writing like this in the mixed diagrams or mixed graphs, you can write 2 sentences. Or if you know very good complex structure, you can write 1 sentence. And the second sentence will be simply like the data is calibrated on, okay, what if it is millimeters, write that the data is calculated in millimeters or centimeters or tons or dollars or $1 million, something like that. So whatever the data, whatever the crucial data is mentioned in the graph, you can write that. So this is what your introduction paragraph will have. 2 or 1 sentence or 3 sentences. For diagrams, it is mostly 2 sentences only. Do not write more than that, because after that it becomes difficult to paraphrase the same thing again and again. So keep it simple, what the diagram is and what it compares. That will be more than enough. And after the introduction, you have to write your overview paragraph. Many students write it at the end also, but I will suggest you to write in the beginning. Okay. So after introduction, write overall paragraph. So overall paragraph should not have any numbers, calculations, or data. For diagrams or for bar charts, you can write the year. So it was highest in 1992, while it was lowest in 2020. So you can write the year. Apart from that, do not write any numbers, any calculations, or any comparisons in your overview paragraph, in your overall paragraph. Just write which is the highest, which is the lowest. That will be more than enough. So overall, it can be seen from the graph that people were employed mostly in 2020, but the number was least in 2017, something like this. Okay, that will be more than enough. So write 1 sentence about the top thing, or next sentence about the least thing. Or if it is a diagram, you can say the different type of steps if it is a process. So overall, it can be seen that there are 8 steps in converting this to that when there is some process. When there is a comparison, you can say overall, it can be seen that there have been drastic changes in the past when compared to past. So just two sentences again in overall paragraph. Do not go for the elaborated answers or explain anything in overall paragraph. Just give an overview that what that map, process, diagram or charts are about. So that will be your overview paragraph. Any doubts till now?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, sister. Everything is okay.
Okay. And then the body paragraphs are simple. Now go for your explanation. So that is your first paragraph, explain the highest one, the first highest, the second highest. Include data, include the comparison language like approximately, considerably, accordingly, highest, lowest, rocketed, steep, dip, all those words that I will share with you later on. So the upward trend, the downward trend, the fluctuation trend, or you can say what you say, the majority, okay, percentage vocabulary which I focus on most of the time. First, instead of writing 85% of people, 75% of people, 10% of people, you can always go for percentage vocabulary. That is, for 75%, you can say most majority of people got employed in 2020. A minor group, if it is only 5% or 2%, you can say very minimum proportion of people were employed in 2018. So instead of going with the percentage, there are some percentage language if you use that gives a boost to your lexical resources. So always try to use these words. You can write 1 or 2% also, like 18%, 27%, 1 or 2 is fine. But for which you know the percentage vocabulary like this, which I mentioned, then try to include them instead of writing percent all the time. And also, when you are using the prepositions and comparisons language, be clear whether you are writing it correctly and it is adhering to what is being said in the graph. So if it is approximately 20%, that is, if you round up, it is coming to 20%, and you have written completely 20%, then this is wrong. It is approximately and completely are two different meaning words. So be clear that if the comparison language which you are using is appropriate or not in that place. You have to be very clear. If you are not clear, then instead of giving you the boost in lexical resources, it will decrease your marks because of the wrong uses. So be clear where to use approximately, where to use accordingly, considerably, and all those things. And then the other thing that I would like to say is that um, do not try to include all the things. Okay, do not include everything. As I said, top one and the least one. So in first paragraph, all the top area will come, that is the most significant one, the highest one, the significant ones. In second paragraph, go for the least one, the most the ones which are not too significant, the one which are least famous or something like that. So one para for the highest, one para for the lowest. So that will have a clear idea. You can include 2 there and 2 here. It will come to 150 words. You need not go for the third paragraph. But if it is 2 pie diagram and 1 bar chart, there are 3 mixed graphs, then you can go for 3 paragraphs if you think you need to go. If you think both charts can be included in 1 paragraph by doing the highest one and the lowest one, you can go for 2 main body paragraphs only. And be sure that you do not include any conclusion. There is no conclusion para in your task 1. So do not use to conclude, to sum up, overall. No, do not write not overall. I mean to sum up. Don't use these essay conclusion phrases in your task 1, or else it will reduce your task achievement to 5.5. So do not use any overall conclusion wordings or conclusion paragraphs. So this is about charts and bars. When you come to diagrams and other processes and what other things you get, diagrams, processes, flowcharts, and all. For them, maps. So for
Maps.
them, yeah. Yes.
Talking about maps as well. Yeah, I was.
Your voice is not clear, sister. Hello.
Nothing, sister. Nothing.
Okay. So for these things
I was
again.
reminding you about the map.
Yes. So maps processes, diagrams, and flowcharts. So flowchart is easy. You just have to complete it with the most things needed. It is very rare. Whereas diagrams and maps and processes, they are more. Diagrams are also becoming less and less nowadays. Maps and processes are the most prominent ones. So when it comes to process, just understand that how many steps are there. So if there are 7 steps, distribute the 7 steps into 2 paragraphs. If there are 11 steps, then distribute them into 3 paragraphs. So if it is below 8, you will write 2. If it is more than 8, that is 10, 11, 12, something, these many steps, then go for 3 paragraphs so that you have clearly explained whatever is going on in the process. But again, keep your task one between 172 to 192. Always do not go for more than 195 words, or else it becomes lengthy and there are lots of chances that you make grammar errors. So keep it in between, and do not explain every step in your imaginative way. It may happen like this and it may have happened like this. Do not give your imaginations. Do not assume anything in task one. You have to write whatever is said in that paragraph. Do not think too much about it may happen, or it can be assumed. No, do not assume, do not think, do not overthink. Just write. If the question says that from the packaging it was given to sales office, then just write the last step is packaging, from where it is sent to sales department. Do not think that the last step is packaging, where everything is packed in, wrapped in papers and in plastic, covered, and then sent to the sales, where it is sent to shopkeepers and it is sold to customers. If it is not mentioned in the process, do not include these extra details. Just stick to whatever has been said in the process diagram or the map. Do not give extra idea that it can be assumed or something like that. Do not assume anything. Do not assume anything. Just write whatever is being said there. If the map says that the benches have changed, then you just say benches have changed. Do not say the benches which were kept here from in the last period to make people comfortably sit on this and enjoy the beauty has been changed. No, do not include these extra ideas to fill in the paper. Do not give extra idea. The benches which were placed here has been now shifted into this. That's it. Okay. Are you getting my point, or am I confusing you guys? मैं ही बोल रही हूँ, तुम लोग भी कुछ बोल लो. Am I confusing you? Is it clear?
Sister. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So this is the basic thing. Okay. Do not include the details. Even if you think whatever happened in your part, you are going to write there. No. Just stick whatever is being said there. Just write it. Split the idea into 2 paragraphs. Write completely. And here again, most of the time you will need to compare in math. Most of the time you will need to use the comparison from past and present. So be clear about the tenses. In task 1, it is very important that you remember what tense you have to use, because if the question has said about compare the job employment in 2017 and 2019, you cannot use present or future tense, right? You have to use past tense because that has already happened. It is common sense because we are in 2020. So we cannot say it is seen, it can be seen that it was like that. Okay, so you have to use the past tense because it happened in 2017 and 2019. Both are in past. If the question is 2017 and 2020, then whenever you refer to 70, you will use past. When you are referring to 20, you will use present. And now it is into this. Okay, so the tense is all the same for all the things. Okay, so if the map is comparing from 2020 and 2021, then you will use future tense. Now the benches are present in the middle of the park. However, it is thought to shift to a north side of the park in 2021. So now you are using future tense. So be clear on the tenses. What the question is asking, what year is mentioned. According to the year, your tense will change. And when you are comparing, do not get confused and write everything in past or everything in present or everything in future, just as I say for your speaking. It is different for task 1. You need to show the range of tense because it is comparison. So you have to be clear in the tense. So these are few things that you need to remember about your academic task 1. Okay, and processes, again, as I said, process I have covered. Maths also, take one paragraph. If you are not good at comparison language, this also I want to say you that if you are not good at comparing and jumping from past present, what you can do is in para 1 talk about one map or one side or one in the past, whatever happened in the past, tell that in first paragraph. So in 1971 the park had this, it also had this, this was placed there, so everything in past. And then come to the second paragraph. Moving ahead, if we look at the present scenario, now the park has this and it has this, it has this. Okay, so you can segregate so that you don't get confused with the past, like in past the benches were here, however now it has shifted to this. If you think that you will get confused if you shift or change frequently from past present, then segregate your answers like this. And the processes, most of the processes, I think they will not have any the years. So you have to assume the present tense because it is also happening now. The process of recycling happens now, so consider that as present. So there are 10 processes of recycling a bottle. The first one is this, the next is this. Okay, so you have to use present tense. So according to the question, if the year is not mentioned, you can assume the present tense. If year is mentioned of the past, use the past tense. If you are going to compare between past, present, future, then accordingly shift you can say. If you are not good at shifting, segregate the two and explain clearly, okay, in different tenses. These are some ways in which you need to tackle your answers of task 1.